the book you divide it into kind of application areas where you can, is it like a questionnaire that, how to, does that then help you identify which end of the spectrum? Because I'd like to utilize it with clients. I'm looking at it right now going, okay, I know where I kind of fall into. This totally makes sense. And I can see how the dynamics can play out even in therapy sessions. Could you give some examples maybe from that?
Okay, the book starts off with a quiz in which you can determine that you are on this continuum at least. And one of the questions, it says, which of these statements do you agree? I envy or resent successful people. When I walk into a room, I feel like everyone is looking at me. If I had a more glamorous job, I would be happy. I don't care what people think about me as long as I do what I say. If I do things by myself, people will think there's something wrong with me because no one else is doing these things with me. If I were important, I would be happy. And so on and so on. I enjoy shocking people. When I am admired, I am happy. I enjoy offending people. And so on. Also in the back, in the appendix, I've got some little scenarios where you've got an ego-defensive script and then an ego-neutral script. Let's see. Let me find something that's fast to read. Okay. Someone screams at you. You jerk. You come back. Who are you calling a jerk? Okay, so you've got two ego-defensive people here. Ego-defensive instigator and then your own ego-defensive response. Someone could call you, hey, you jerk. And you could say in an ego-neutral way, why did you say that? Open up a dialogue. Try and get the other side to see what may or may not have transpired. It may be that he has the wrong person. But you don't know that if you don't ask the question. If you go back in your biologically inspired ego-defensive stance, you will never get the thing resolved. There was really a good one in here where my sister and I had a standoff when I should have known better because I had been ego-neutral for a while. But she was driving, and she's very structured in her sense of right and wrong. And as she was driving, I looked down and said, oh, I didn't fasten my seatbelt. I slammed on the brakes. Well, you fasten it right now, even as I was reaching for it. So I dropped it, and I said, no. And she said, well, I'm not driving unless you fasten it. I said, then get ready to sit here a very long time. So you've got two ego-defensive people trying to control each other, or one trying to control and the other refusing to be controlled. When what I could have said was, I could have gone on and fastened it, since that's what I was starting to do anyway, and just said, you know, I'm wondering why you found it necessary to order me to do something I already started to do. So, you have some examples here, some scripts, some scenarios, which might help them identify their own ego-defensive and ego-neutral moments. I also have in here, in the appendix, a comparison of ego-defensive versus ego-neutral. For example, ego-defensive is driven by belief. And I even have a chapter in the how-to part that's entitled, Are You a Believer or an Investigator? Because what you do with an ego-neutral approach in therapy is test this. Do the ego-neutral thing for a day or a week or a month and see if your life gets better. It's something you can always drop. You are not required to do it for the rest of your life if it's not working for you. But I think that you will find that it does work for you. And while you may not be happy doing it because you have biochemical issues, for example, and situational issues, but your life should get better. Maybe not happy, but it should be better.